This is Sarita at Vine Me Up, and you are sipping in the Swirl Suite.
I'm Leslie Freelo with Vino 301, and you are sipping
Chat
in the
and
Swirl
chit,
Suite.
chit and chat.
Welcome to the Swirl Suite, everybody. Tanisha, it's me, you
Oh,
tonight.
Gladys, and
Are you
you
gonna
are
sing?
Oh, look
sipping in the
at us.
Swirl
Are you gonna
Suite,
sing a song, just
and
me?
I am at the Vino
Oh
Lounge.
no, you.
Enjoy.
That's all you tonight, sis.
That's messed up. That's messed up. You don't leave me out
Not tonight, babe.
Alright, then. Whatever. So what's going on?
Not too much. It's been a slow week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep forgetting when I'm out. I keep forgetting that I don't have wine, and so I don't buy it when I'm out.
Mm.
So I keep having to drink hard liquor. So there's that.
Okay. So that's all right. All right.
Yes, that's
So,
a thing.
so you just buy like one bottle at a time. You don't buy like multiple bottles.
So at times I do,
Mm-hmm.
but since it's usually like, I mean, it's just me drinking it, I will
Mm-hmm.
just get like a bottle,
Oh,
maybe
okay.
two at the most.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, because space here is at a premium, so it ain't like, oh, let me get this case and store it.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna put that where. But
um.
I did. They're in like the sales season right now, so it's like sales on everything, and so it's
Why is
this
this the
one.
sale season?
That's just what they have sales. I mean, but then they have like major sales in January and in June.
Oh wow.
And so it is January. And so, this is where you get stuff that's like in season. So like I just bought a winter coat because I needed one and it was 47 euro. So I'm very excited about that. It just came
Wow.
yesterday. I'm like super hype. It's super cute. But then they also have sales on like train tickets, plane tickets, and the wine site has some sales. So I'm going to get I
Wow.
really, I always talk about wine from Southern Rhone.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one region I really like called Ventoux. And they have half a case and it's 24 euro. So I think I'm about to
What?
yeah.
Oh man.
So yeah, I'm like, well, I'm about to be buying 6 bottles. There's
Wow.
that. Yeah.
Well, man.
The other sales are on like Bordeaux and Beaujolais and mm, not as excited about those, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you put a sell on some Rhones or anything from Burgundy, then I would like lose it. But yeah.
Okay. So
So
speaking of sales, this wasn't a sale, but I was at Trader Joe's. There's a Trader Joe's in my neighborhood. Well, not quite my neighborhood, but my neighborhood adjacent. So,
okay.
Eastern Market.
Close enough.
Close enough. So, I was in Trader Joe's getting snacks and wine, and I came across
Hmm.
a Gewürztraminer from Trader Joe's that was $4.
What?
You heard me
Oh,
right.
Pacific Rim.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
that's a good
Hold
brand.
on. From
Uh-oh.
Washington State,
Yeah.
$4. Yes. So, I wrote a.
You win.
Okay. Well, yes, I'm gonna win double because I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it because you just never
Uh-huh.
know if wine's under like I don't know if wine's under $8, I start to question it a little bit. But I picked this up. I really liked it, and I'm going back to get a case. So we will see. We'll see how
Yeah,
that
you win.
goes. Yeah.
Now, one thing I have heard, which I found interesting, is and I'm not sure if this is the case with Pacific Rim wines, but they have said that sometimes when like with bulk wine, since they make them from,
Yeah.
different regions, different producers, you could go back and get another bottle and it tastes completely different than the one that you have
We will see.
because, they're grabbing it from
Yeah.
bulk.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely am interested to see if that's something that applies to what you have, and your
Absolutely.
bottles will taste different when you get that case.
Yeah. And how
But
about
yeah,
I got a white burgundy for $12 also.
what?
Yeah, at Trader Joe's. I don't know what's going on, but I was getting my entire life there. Yeah, I was there on Martin Luther King Day on
Trader
Monday.
Joe's is to come up.
At 8 o'clock
Hmm.
on the dot, I beat all the soccer moms and housewives. And yes, I made out on top. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you beat them because they were sleeping in because the kids ain't have to go to school.
Girl, and it's cold.
So,
Oh, it snowed again today. So, so there's
what?
that. There is that.
Yeah, I can't mess with America right now.
Yeah, girl, it's cold. It's
Oh,
really
cold
cold.
over there? No, because
It's really
yeah,
cold.
my brother was telling me that it snowed in Chicago. I think he said it might have been like 3 to 4 inches, which I mean that ain't too bad, but like the other one's
That's
not gone.
enough.
So
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
I'm like, oh, this is a snowy winter for them.
Speaking of your brother, did I see that he wrote a book?
He did. That
What's
dude
what's
has a book.
what's his book about?
So his book is about broadcasting. He's a broadcaster. He's been in broadcasting since the early 2000s,
Oh wow.
and so as kind of a guide for someone who wants to get into the industry or who's already in the industry and trying to better themselves, better their skills. And that book is How to Be a Broadcasting Star, your complete step-by-step guide.
That's what's up. That's
Yeah,
wonderful. Oh, I
right.
know y'all are super proud. That's nice.
Oh my goodness, so proud. And because that, listen, I'm gonna just, hype him up for just a quick second. I'm about to say as long as I've known him, which is like literally his entire life, because he's my younger brother. But when he says he's gonna do something, or like when he sets his mind to something, like it's done. It's not like how some people be like, oh, okay, well, that's a goal and that's kind of further off, or I want to do this, or I'm interested in this. Like he has always been so crystal clear on things that he wanted to do. Like when he wanted to be a broadcaster, girl, he said this, he was like 10. And
Wow.
then that's when he went to, like, we had, okay, I'm about to date both of us. Do you remember those Star Studio radios
Yeah.
where you could record on a mic
Yes.
and then it would record? He had that and would be practicing like broadcasting things, like recording over songs on tapes, like introducing them, like he was introducing stuff like a broadcaster. He
Wow.
was doing that then.
That's awesome.
And so then went to college, majored in communications, graduated summa cum laude, like did all these things, and then is now, ever since college, has been in the industry, and now finally got back to Chicago doing his thing there. And it was like, you know what? I need to tell people about this so they don't have to make these mistakes. I'm gonna write a book. He said this last Christmas when I was home. I was like, okay, well go ahead if that's something you want to do. And this dude for real like has like a full like book. Like it's a thing. It happened. It's pages. It's a cover. I'm like,
Wow.
wow.
That's a black excellence at its fucking best. That's what that is.
Listen, that is it. So yeah. And I told him, I was like, we supposed to do our wine and sports video. He's like, I know, the time went by so fast. I was like, so guess we got to Skype you.
Wow.
We got to talk about the Super
Huh.
Bowl. So
How about that? Well, what's your brother's name? Or yeah.
Clement Townsend. So
Cheers to
yeah,
Clement Townsend. Cheers.
right. I don't have anything to cheers
Yes.
because
Well, I have something. Cheers.
yes.
Cheers.
Sarita says cheers.
So I thought we'd do a little something different this episode. This is
Okay.
actually Leslie's idea, Vino 301. She said it'd be a good idea for us to read some of the comments and the engagement that we get on social media.
Oh, people be
So
talking to us.
they do comment. The Hennessy episode was a hit, and we did get a comment from one person who actually went out and ordered your Hennessy margarita.
Listen, and that's why I posted that picture a couple of days ago about that Hennessy margarita
Mm-hmm.
because that thing there,
Yeah.
girl.
Yep.
I remember that comment. What got me about that, because I have heard this too. They ordered a sidecar and we're told, oh no, we can't make that. We don't have the ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, let me get a Hennessy margarita. Sure, coming right up.
And so King Peachtree, he lives in Atlanta. I actually know him. He said, okay, so he's asked for Hennessy margarita and to get the sidecar trick twice in one weekend. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That is so, and I told him the next time that he orders it to post a picture and tag us. And he responded. He was like, and they didn't have the ingredients for the sidecar. Smiley
Right.
face.
Didn't have.
Yeah.
Right.
Didn't
Yeah.
have.
That's what's crazy. Now, some people will do like a variation on the Hennessy margarita because, like, to people who there aren't bartenders that are thinking about it, they're like, oh, well, Hennessy and then tequila, because some
Mm-hmm.
people will still put tequila in it. But The reason you say Hennessy margarita is because the rest of the ingredients are the margarita ingredients. You just
Yeah,
replace the tequila with the
exactly,
Hennessy.
exactly. Okay, so I'm going to read one more comment, and then we're going to
Hmm.
get into wine apps. But this is from Sip and Share Wine on Instagram.
Okay.
She says, Swirl Suite continues to bring the most outstanding guests, content, and fun. Thanks for expanding my palate, knowledge, while making us laugh. I'm a fan for life. And this is after our chat with Shahir of Apricots and Honey
Okay.
Wine Shop. So
The
that was
homie,
the
Shahir,
homie.
shout
He
out
is
to
a
him.
new homie.
Yeah. We
Really
can't
good
wait to get to New
episode.
York and tear his
Absolutely.
shop up. I mean, tear it up
Absolutely.
by like drink everything. Not like vandalism. Like,
Oh, so our subject today is wine apps. So, Tanisha, do you use wine apps? And if you do use them, which ones and for what purpose?
yeah, so this is gonna be a short answer because it's no. Unfortunately, wine apps aren't a big thing for me. Not now. I
Mm-hmm.
used to use them, like back in the day. Uh, for me, it's hard to like. I don't think about apps when it comes time for me to drink wine because now I drink wine out more
Mm-hmm.
often than I drink wine at home. And when I'm out, I'm enjoying it with friends or, trying to chug it or like whatever the case may be. I'll take a picture of the bottle, but don't store it or anything like that. I'm a different kind of like wine drinker slash wine professional,
Mm-hmm.
in that there are things that I drink that I like, but I mainly focus on origins and not necessarily producers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why like I never take notes because like I'll remember a region that I like,
Mm-hmm.
but don't need the actual producer. I mean, well, I won't say don't need it because if I want to
Yeah.
refer somebody else to it, but
Right.
yeah, and I like trying different things. It's rare that I go back. Like, right, I love this so much, but man, look at all of these other ones that I can
Mm-hmm.
get. Like, look at this wine aisle. Let me try something else. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I haven't used a wine app in a while.
I
So,
I've actually used Vivino occasionally.
okay,
I have it on my phone. Now, do I utilize it like everybody else? Probably not. I just, if I'm curious about a wine that I'm about to buy and I've never had it before, I might check Vivino first to see who else has drank it, what kind of ratings it gives. But most of the times, I don't really care.
yeah,
Um, and I actually do not use these types of apps because to me it's another task. So I'm the type of wine blogger where I'll take a picture of the bottle, or and I'm Facebooking, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram. If I like it, you're gonna see it. So
yeah,
um in my notes I'll put like little notes in the description or whatever, but I'm not, to me it's just something else to do, and I feel like
yep,
I have enough to cover already. So that's why I
yeah,
don't use these apps. But for somebody who's like just trying to figure things out, new to wine, and some people like it, according to some of the people in our industry, because I put it on Instagram and Facebook and asked wine drinkers um, what they use, what apps they use. So I got a few responses. Vivino is number one, Delectable, Cellar Tracker. Those are the ones that I got. That was it.
yeah. I know I hear about Vivino the most.
Yeah.
Now, I will say there have been times, like you said, when I have done like a little research or like looked up a wine, just
Mm-hmm.
and this is on the computer,
Right.
and I've come across Vivino and like some information of things there and Cellar Tracker,
Mm-hmm.
but not as an app, but more as a better Wikipedia.
Got it.
I've
Got it.
used those.
So,
Now, I will say, oh, sorry.
no, you go ahead.
Uh, I will say I have used, and that's something that I've done here though. I have used apps for wine delivery. So,
Oh,
but
and
that's kind of
so,
different.
okay, so tell me about that. So you just order wine through an app and it comes to your house.
Yeah, so it's like how, like, I know you have like Uber Eats or Alaresto, like, because I've used those in the States, but like, yeah, they have apps for that here.
Ha,
They're great.
that sounds
Yeah.
fantastic. Wow.
Hmm.
Uh huh.
And it's not this crazy minimum either, because that's what I thought. I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to, these prices are about to be ridiculous. No, it's just regular like prices, and you don't have to order a whole bunch.
So when you're at home and you realize that, oh shoot, I don't have no wine, do you use this app and then it delivers the wine?
I haven't used it like that because like for me, when I've used the app, it's been more so I've been out somewhere and like at a party, or I've actually been out at a picnic before and was like, oh wait, there's no more wine. Well, let's keep the party going, something
You
like that.
ordered wine through an app and had it delivered to a party or a picnic.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
Wow.
for sure.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's living.
So,
That is living.
right, just like I'm gonna just sit here, just thanks. Just walk up to me and
Wow.
bring it. Thank you. Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Hmm. How about
Um,
that?
because then it's like I need it.
Right.
Whereas if I'm just home and I'm like, oh shoot, I don't have any wine, I'm not as pressed. I'll be like, okay,
Okay.
fine. I'll just do something else and not drink
Hmm.
it. Because like I'd rather pick through like what's in a wine shop and not necessarily
Okay.
like
Okay. So
yeah.
that's gonna be
When I'm
on my
home, I'm more
to-do
intentional
list.
when I drink.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna be on my to-do list. So just order
Order wine.
wine. Just order wine to keep the party going.
Just be like, I'm just sitting on the river. I'm just gonna order some wine.
Wow.
Keep it.
I'm
Yeah,
impressed. I'm
girl, you can order
impressed.
anything. Wine, pizza. I mean, you can have a whole Thai meal delivered. Like, do whatever. It's
So
not a
you have
problem.
you have a list of apps with you. Can you go through those really quick? Just give a little description.
Okay. Yes, I do. Thank you for that deleting,
Yeah,
Sarita.
you're welcome.
Starting off with the most popular, the most talked about, which you mentioned, with personalized wine recommendations. Same for Delectable. There is Cellar Tracker. Hello Vino. This one is more of a virtual wine assistant, and it also gives you recommendations for food and wine pairings, special occasions, personal wine picks based on your taste preferences, things like that. Drink. Now, this is an app that I used back in the day. I think like when it first came out, I was very fascinated with the idea of the app because you could take a picture of the label or like scan the barcode and then the
Mm-hmm.
information will populate in your phone
Mm-hmm.
and then you can add in your own notes. And so like I absolutely loved that because that took a lot of the work out. But as it is with me, I will take notes on things and then never go back and look at said notes.
Okay.
So it became like it was no reason for me to just keep writing this stuff down if I'm not gonna go back and look at it.
Okay.
Pictures, I'll go back and look at, but not that. Anyway, so Drink app, you can shop, you can browse through there, you can scan, take pictures of
Mm-hmm.
the bottle of wine, and then learn more about it there. Drizzly, which is alcohol delivery, so yeah, I might need to get on
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
Wine Searcher, find, compare, and buy wines. And then Wine Ring, where you rate wines. You can journal in there, restaurants and retailers. I will say Wine Searcher, Cellar Tracker, and Vivino, you can also use those on your PC if
Yeah,
you're
you
just
can.
wanting to search through.
Yeah.
So maybe you're doing some searching and some research in advance, and then you can use those
Hmm.
before you go into your shop.
And if I remember correctly, Drizzly, is that the one that Shahir has for his shop where he
I think
delivers?
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Huh. Very
Yeah,
interesting.
Drizzly is the business if you can, use it. I mean, because just the idea of alcohol delivery,
I
like
know.
who would want that?
I know. Who wouldn't want that?
Yeah,
Hmm.
who would want that? Now, luckily for me here, a lot of places that just do regular delivery, like if I order food, they also have wine there that they can,
See, that
sell.
is a
Those
setup.
restaurants.
That's a
That,
setup we
yeah,
should be seeing.
yeah. So that's something, but
Hmm.
I know that isn't legal in
It is
a
not.
lot of places. And also, a lot of restaurants and stuff in America don't make it as affordable to buy wine by the bottle all the time. So there,
Hmm. How about
because
that?
markup and all that. Yeah, that's a whole nother show. We'll get into
It
that
really
another time.
is. Hmm.
By the bottle. We got to get into that another time. Yeah.
But but yeah, it was interesting how a lot of the wine bloggers that responded to my post,
Hmm.
they live by these apps. Like Delectable, there was one girl said Seller Tracker and Delectable. That's what she checks. She
Okay.
she contributes to and she checks and she lives by those two apps. So
Now I think now that's interesting that with her being a contributor,
mm-hmm.
because that's something that I've always thought about. Like I know a few bloggers and then people that we know mutually, of course, because we literally know the same people. um that contribute to Vivino.
Mm-hmm.
I never even thought about, oh, well, let me write my notes down here for other people to read them. Like, I never even thought about wine apps in that way. I just thought about it like, oh, okay, I can write my notes like for myself to go back and look to, but not
Mm-hmm.
even thinking of it like in a Wikipedia sense where I am
Right.
putting something in and then everybody can come back
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
look at it. But
For me, the app is not long term. Like, what
mhm.
if I think about it like this? Like, apps come and go. What
Yeah.
happens to everything that I contribute when it goes? Like, it's gone. Like, so if I really care about it, then I'll blog about it or put it on my Instagram because I don't think that's going anywhere anytime soon.
Hmm.
But,
If it
um,
did, listen,
oh
girl,
my
it's a whole bunch of
gosh.
wine notes that's done. You hear me? Y'all got my best notes. Ah!
Oh, that's funny. But so we have a special
But no,
guest.
who do we?
We
What?
do. His name is Adrian, and he is the creator of an app called Wine Routes. Now,
Mm,
Wine Routes, he will tell us a lot more about it, but it seems to separate itself from all these other apps because it's specific to wine tourism. So you
okay.
can create your own wine tour through this app.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
Right, right. And I'm curious to see what areas he covers. Of course, California is the bulk of the wine tourism, but I'm
Yes.
curious to see if he's got Maryland and Virginia in there.
Yeah. Is this something that I need to be trying to download now?
Well, you could try. It's not available on my phone because I have an Android, but
Oh,
you know,
sorry.
don't do that. Don't do that. Here we go. Here we
Oh,
go.
since I got that new well, not since I got the iPhone, I'm brand new.
Hey, hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well tonight, thank you. Greetings
Welcome.
from
Okay.
we're here in Sonoma County, so it's getting dark here now. It's about 5:30, so it's perfect
Wow. Well, welcome to the
Okay.
Swirl Suite. Thank you for joining
Well,
us.
for sure. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. I like your hat.
Yeah, we just got these made up. They're wine routes, got the little logo on there. I figure I better sport it tonight, huh? Go walking
it
around wearing
only
it.
makes sense.
I
Yes.
said, hey, we better sport it for the evening, right?
Yeah, great
Yes.
idea.
How are you guys?
We are good. We
We
are
are
good.
good. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm
I'm just
Sarita.
downloading the app. Oh,
Oh,
oh
look, you
yeah, we should do
downloaded the app.
introduction.
Yay.
Yes.
Yes, I'm Sarita. I'm Vine Me
Wait,
Up
oh
on
no, we can't see
Instagram.
that.
This is
Okay.
Tanisha, and she is Girl Meets Glass. And we were at the Wine Bloggers Conference this past November where we met one of your representatives. I forgot his name,
His
but
name's Ian. It
yes,
must be Ian.
yes,
It
it
must
was him.
be
It was Ian.
Ian.
Sure.
He was so we had double booked our afternoons. It was like a 3 day. It was actually a 4 day straight. It went like from Friday to Sunday of events. It was either the wine marketing tourism conference followed by the wine bloggers conference, and then I had another arrangement thing called the Harvest Summit that lined up right on that day. And so I think that's probably the day you met him.
Yep, he was
So
sitting at our table when we were tasting wines. Yep.
how cool.
Yeah. So, so please introduce yourself and tell us all about your wine app and what inspired you to create it.
Yeah, for sure. So, about me, a little bit about me. I grew up here in Sonoma County. So I was born and raised out in West County of Sonoma County, which is a little place called Forceville, really small little town, and grew up out there. And then as soon as I went to school and whatnot, I moved to Arizona to go to school when I was in college days. I just realized how much I miss this area and the natural beauty of the area, all the wineries and whatnot. And so when I came back and my budget allowed for me to start exploring wines, I noticed that there's just so many plethora of wineries here in Sonoma County. There's like roughly 400 like right here in our neighborhood, so to speak, within like say 30 to 40 miles. And so I kind of got to be known by my friends as somewhat of a wine guy. So they would always come to me for recommendations and say, "Hey, Adrian, he's always going wine tasting. You must know where the good places are to go and whatnot." So the inspiration kind of came from that. Is people always asking me where a good place to go would be, and so I always kind of struggled with it myself, like making a good recommendation, because what I felt was that depending on who you are making the recommendation for, it could be wildly different experiences, right? Like if you're someone like this brand new to wine, that's maybe coming in from back east or something, and it's their first time out here in quote wine country, like the heart of it, Sonoma County, something like that, or coming to Napa, it's really kind of maybe an overwhelming experience. So making a good recommendation, even based on a limited knowledge base, because I have nowhere near have I visited 400 wineries, not even close. So even my limited set of wineries that I've gone to are still limited, and so I always struggle with making a good decision for myself, but then also making a good recommendation for friends. That was kind of how the process got started. So to back up prior to Wine Routes, I was involved with a business called Directory of Schools for a number of years. And the goal of the platform, Directory of Schools, like from 98-ish to about 2010, 2012-ish, somewhere in there. So it was a pretty good long run. I was doing that business for about 10 years. Part of that business was connecting students to schools, right? Like basically lead gen for the EDU space. So that was basically the goal of the platform, Directory of Schools, lift all the programs, courses, and offerings on a platform, let the users find the locations based on what best suits them. And really basically hook up schools with students. That was the goal of the operation. It was lead gen for the school EDU space. So when that market shifted and the EDU space kind of changed a bit as it relates to financial aid, there's all sorts of things that were going on in the space. Google was changing their search algorithms. So many things were changing within that space. I kind of saw that right on the wall, and I backed away from that business and was lucky enough to be able to get out of it. And at that point in time, I was like, well, what do I really love? Like, I live here in Sonoma County. Like, there's all these wineries around here. Like, I have this frustration. This solution doesn't exist in the marketplace. There's no digital solution to quickly find on-demand information about wineries, because it seems like the wineries, like if I want to plan a trip, it's like a map, and you pull out the map, or you get like some sort of like maybe a recommendation from a peer or something along those lines. It seemed like there was no consolidated information that you could easily access quickly, find out all the specifics, just plug it in. Hey, I'm a wine drinker. I like Pinot. My wife likes Chardonnay. We have our dog. We want to see a cave in Dry Creek Valley. Where do we go? Like, as simple as that. Answering that question for the masses on scale nationwide, not just Napa, not just Sonoma, but anywhere that you could possibly travel in the U.S. So basically that was the inspiration for it. And so I didn't know it at the time. That we would have created what we've created now, which is Wine Routes, the product, our core service. But on my 30th birthday, while I was still working with the Directory of Schools, the other business, my aunt kind of like knew my frustration of like what I was talking about, making good recommendations, because I think I kind of voiced it at different events, and like, oh yeah, I had this group in, and I think I made a bad suggestion for them. They weren't too happy with where I sent them. And so she gave me this, which is, I'll throw it up so your viewers could see this, but it was this little journal, and it said Adrian's Adventures. Okay, it was a simple little.
Cute.
It's super cute.
You probably went to, I don't know, Ross or something, and got this for, to $2, and then spent the time, entering all the information about the wines you would try and the areas you'd go, and Like, I was like, what a thoughtful,
Oh.
like, it was a really thoughtful thing. I was like,
Yeah.
that's really neat. I was like, that's cool. I was like excited about it. And I didn't really think too much of it at the time. But when all of a sudden, a couple years later, my attention had shifted, I kind of went back to it and I said, listen, there is a real need. I bet you other people would enjoy this as well, remembering the adventures they go on. And then I started searching. I started searching for like a digital solution for this problem.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't there, like anything to my expectations being in tech, previously and wanting to get information very quickly and concisely. I couldn't find this information easily available, especially like any of the apps or any of the platforms. They're mostly like, geared towards retailers, finding wines in the retail channels, things like that. But for these direct to consumer producers, how do they get onto the map, so to speak, and how do they compete or get on a level playing field with some of the other larger brands, which fine, they make great wines, but I think people also seek out the ones that aren't nationally distributed. Those special things, those special places you could go. So that I think those few things kind of all collided at once. And on the flip side of the coin, as soon as I kind of put some attention to this matter of like finding a solution for myself to make good recommendations, find places that my wife and I would want to go, wine tasting, whatnot, I looked at it from the other side of the perspective, right? Like, what are the wineries' challenges?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's key, you guys, because I think that they've been left out of the conversation, so to speak, from digital platforms that have been created. It was all about that third-party app pushing out to like whatever my goal is. So one of the things that I kind of thought about is like, and obviously what we're kind of seeing is that the wineries, the two challenges that they really have are building brand awareness. The two challenges that the wineries have: building brand awareness and engaging with the consumer, right?
Yes. Yep.
So how do they do that? What tools do they currently have available where they're able to not only tell their story, show what makes them unique, and also tell the story not just about their winery but their wines? I think is a very important concept. Is how can a brand that's a direct to consumer producer tell the story about the specific wine it is that they've hand produced and hand put together. Now, a platform like TripAdvisor, a platform like Yelp. Okay, let's just look at those two examples because they're able to obviously what's mainstream right now for any kind of major application where people are using that. Those apps, while they are great about giving details and reviews about the specific winery, like maybe how was the hospitality, how are the wines in general, how was the tasting room employees, how was that kind of experience? That's great. That is good information. But what about the wine itself that you tasted? And so one of the components that we do with Wine Routes that's unique or that's a differentiator that I think that's kind of our next topic here to talk about is really the ability for a winery to display their wines, the product they make, and tell that story to the end consumer. Mm-hmm. So part of a Wine Routes profile, like if you were to look at a winery's profile, let's take Francis Ford Coppola, for instance, would be a good example because they have fully built out profile and they have menus there. So they're able to actually display the menus of the wines that you would taste if you were to go into the location. Right? So maybe you could pull this up in advance and know what the cost is going to be, what the wines are that you're going to be trying. And also, if you interact with those wines while you're there or en route to that location, it now saves back to your own personal profile so that you can remember that experience. You remember which wines you tasted. You remember how much money you spent on it. Mm-hmm. So at home on Tuesday night, you don't open a $60 bottle, right?
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Whatever the thing is, right? Mm-hmm. So the goal of the application really is to help end users find these locations based on like set criteria that they're looking for that's going to suit their purposes. Allow that end user to engage with the winery and the wines while they're there at the location through the use of the digital tasting menu, and then provide a tool for the winery to follow up with that consumer post visit. That's the key because that's how they build, they build loyalty, they build brand recognition, and
So is it
they build.
it's like a rating system after you leave a winery, sort of like
So
Yelp, or do they just ask you to take a survey or that kind of thing?
it's almost as easy as just a follow. You follow that wine or that winery. Okay, so
Oh,
like if
I see what you're saying.
you just
Okay.
hit follow, just boom, that creates a connection. Like you're a registered user on the account. That information is not like we don't send your email address to the winery per se. It's an aggregate, but we give them a dashboard where they can contact you post visit and say, hey, we have a new event that's coming up. Hey,
Oh.
we have a new release of a wine that was just released. We understand based on your preferences that you like Pinot Noir. Well, we just came out with the 2015 version or what have you. So that's kind of I think that's some of like the integrated approach that the way we're looking at this problem of connecting the consumer to the brand is kind of giving tools for both sides of the not only the user but also the brand to connect, because I think that's where the disconnect occurs right currently.
Huh.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
That's so much more than just going into an app and seeing like, oh, okay, yeah, I can go to this tasting room or I can go to that tasting. It's more than just a map. That's what I like about it, because while you were talking, of course I was listening, but then also I downloaded the app just so I could kind of understand more about what you were saying. And so it's more than just a map telling me where I can go. It's so much more interactive than that, where you can load up the winery information and hours and address and like you said, get menus and things like that. So
Also,
yeah,
you can create routes. Like
Yeah.
you can create a route to a winery.
I created one while you were talking also.
That's
I created one.
we're all like, oh my God, it's so cool. I want to use it right now.
So it's very user friendly. So I created a route for a Virginia wine tour. So I didn't realize that you got your app works here.
Yeah, the whole U.S.,
Oh
all the
wow.
wineries are open to the public in the U.S.
Oh wow. Wait, so question. So how did you connect with the wineries all over the US? How did you manage to do that?
So we're programmers, like mostly data scientists and those types, right? So
Okay.
we use scripts to go out and collect this information on mass, on scale, and
Mm.
then we use other scripts to put it all together and mine it, parse it, and then piece it together into a database and then display it to you, the end user, in a useful format, essentially, right? It's basically just taking aggregate information that doesn't make any sense on its own,
Mhm.
putting it in a kind of like a database architecture, and then displaying it to the end user so that it can be useful. That's us.
Okay.
Wow.
So you're like a data person, computer programmer, computer scientist, like by nature or maybe a previous trade, and this was just
Yeah.
like a passion. Okay.
Well, with like directory schools, it was the same kind of thing, right? We were taking
Hmm.
all the courses, programs, and offerings by all the universities and
Hmm.
putting them into a database, and then saying, hey, based on where you live, you could type in your zip code and say, these are the programs, courses, and offerings in this area that you could apply to. So it's
Okay.
like geo-targeting a specific users within a specific range for a specific thing that they're looking for.
Okay.
Like tied down.
It
So
is so fascinating to me that how that you came up with the idea for this and then went and did this. Most of the like groundbreaking innovations and things in the wine industry have come from people not in the industry. They
hmm.
were people that were interested in wine or just doing it, for fun. And they saw a need and they're like, oh, well, this is something that I have expertise with that I can help with or fix or find a solution to make it better.
Hmm.
And then here you are and you did it. So thank you
It's
very much.
interesting, actually, because thank you. This interesting comment that you make, because one of the insights that we kind of were looking at as a team, because this is not all by myself, trust me. Like a lot of the ideas and a lot of the concepts I brought forward to the team to say, hey, this is the direction we should head. This is my background. I think these are the things I think would work, and this is the research that I think would prove those facts. But so some of the other people within the space, so some of the other team members that I have on my team, they have other skill sets, right? So one guy's like really heavy into the data, so he can collect all the information. Another guy's really good at parsing the data, putting it into the database. The third guy is really good at, say his wife works for a marketing department, that's in the wine business, and he says these are the challenges that we're having. He has a background in wine more than anybody else in this room. I like to drink it. I'm by no means a wine. I'm an expert in like wanting to go on and experiences and like having fun with my friends and making sure it's experience. That's why I'm right. So, so some of the guys, they brought different things to the table, but none of us by ourselves could have created this. Not a chance. Someone with an idea and like saying, hey, let's lay these things out and like kind of create the UI. That's one thing. But to create the user experience, the UX of the thing, and to actually program it and to get all those things, the whole HTML, the CSS, the whole front end of the system, and the user experience, the flow, how that works, how you create a route, how you can reorder the routes, all this thing, it takes an extreme amount of thought and taking a look at it from many different angles and different people's points of view. So it was interesting how it all came together and where it's at. Now, this is the building of integrated services for the whole entire wine industry. And we don't want to have it just national, we want it to be international. So we have some pretty goals as it relates to having wine routes be the go-to tool for users to plan their travel and to engage with the wineries, so.
All right.
Wow. So I guess this is kind of a personal question, but how exactly do wine apps make profits?
Sure. Okay, so a couple of the ways that we're working with on making profit is basically CPM advertising. Okay, so wineries, basically there's a couple different ways that we are looking at monetizing our platform. One of them is through associations. So I think you're probably familiar with many associations that exist throughout the U.S. that their goals of the association is mainly to help attract tourism to a specific region or area, right? And a lot of times these associations will put on events throughout the year that will have many wineries that are part of that event, right? So we're looking at working with them in a cooperative fashion where we can co-brand our like, let's say we have an event coming up in the state of New Mexico. Like the state of New Mexico is one of our clients and they're on board with us. They're called Viva Vino. They have 60 wineries in New Mexico. So if you go to New Mexico, all those profiles look all built out and they look all sweet and you can go there and like you could have a really great experience there. They're getting in the process of adding the wineries wines because that's always the harder challenge is the wines. A little more time to enter that stuff in. But the searches are working excellent in New Mexico as it relates to our connections we've made there. So for example, they'll have an event every year, like a hot air balloon festival, for example, that will maybe get, say, 10,000 people over a 3-day weekend to go to this event, and maybe 30 of those 60 wineries will show up for that event, right? So basically, that's how we would co-market with them, and we would say, hey, we're going to help drive traffic to this event through our platform, through our community. We're going to reach out and we're going to display on our website those advertisements. So we've built an ad server on our platform that tracks all the actual hits to the advertisements. So when someone views that ad, it's basically a CPM impression, and that's how we will work with associations. So the state of Maine just signed on with us. That's another big win that we just recently got. And then we're working with a lot of the larger wine brands that have multiple locations, if you will. Some of them, they're seeing kind of like, hey, this is kind of neat. We could send users to our other, sister wineries and whatnot, and that's helpful to us. So that's another way we're working with them. Analytics and data are obviously kind of another play that the larger brands are interested in. They want to see what we're doing, what their preferences are, those kinds of things. So there's some larger plays there. Another thing that we're having development right now is the ability for an end user to be able to book an experience. And so this is something that we're currently in the process of building out. And so the winery will be able to come on and say, hey, I have these, I have a grouping of wineries, for instance. There's basically either whether they own them or they work cooperatively with other neighboring wineries and say, hey, we have 4 wineries or 5 wineries on this route. That's a shareable object. This shareable object can now get pushed out via all the different social channels, and then we can track all the ROI that comes back on any kind of spend as it relates to who's interacting with those wines or wineries. That's basically the goal, right? How they're able to interact with that user post-visit, which is really important to the wineries. It's very important. So, I think everyone's gone into a winery and hasn't bought anything, right? So if they're not in your POS system, you may have had some sort of experience, good, bad, ugly, whatever the case is, but it's a missed opportunity for that winery to connect with you. And so this, through wine routes, if you just hit follow or you created a route, that basically makes you a connection right there by default. And so now they can say, hey, come on back, or what have you. So that's a good another touch point. I think it's what consumers do as well.
So clearly, the consumers can connect with the wineries. Can I connect with other consumers through the app?
Yeah. You guys could follow each other. You could create a route, and then you could follow that route. That route gets upvoted. So like if someone, like an influencer came on, created some routes, put it in their blog, right? Like if someone wrote a blog post, these are my favorite wineries, put the link for that route there. That's something that basically that route could get upvoted by the community. That's something else that we're working with other bloggers and whatnot to help facilitate those kinds of things.
Okay.
It does so much.
It's so impressive. That's so impressive.
Like transportation companies, I had this guy call me today from Oregon. He runs like his own little, it's called Vine to Vine. They run a tour. He has a Sprinter Mercedes van that he goes and he's got the Vine to Vine on the side of the van, and he calls and he says, Adrian, what's this wine routes thing? I have no idea. It looks cool, How can we work together? And it was really quite easy to say, hey, look, you have right now, you charge basically like $100 an hour to go take people around on tours. What's the process when they phone you? How do you say which wineries you're going to go to? Why don't you pre-populate a group of wineries? Say why don't you on your website populate 5 routes that they could choose from and say it's $350, $500, what have you, to go on this route because I know how long it's going to take me. He could figure out the math and figure out what's going to cost him to do that kind of a route and provide that service. And it's easy for the end user. They're having a really fun time. They get to see all the wineries they're going to go to. They see all the specifics in one link rather than going to 5 different, 20 websites to figure out which 5 they want to go to.
Yeah.
It's like that,
Yeah, that's definitely something that I have to do. I was telling Ian when we were at the Wine Bloggers Conference that most of the time I just use Google and my knowledge of the local wineries. I go to each site, make sure their hours are still the same. Then I put the addresses in Google and have Google send me a text of it mapped all out. And with this app, everything's all in one.
Right. All you do is just scroll. Be like, yes, got it.
But unfortunately, I have an Android, so I have to wait till you guys create it for the Android.
Or just be friends with the iPhone user. You got to take an iPhone user on your trip.
Yeah, most people go in small groups, so hopefully someone's gonna have the iPhone with the group. So, one of the challenges that we have is obviously reaching our complete focus up until the time we launched was right before the fires hit in Sonoma County. I think you guys probably quite a bit about the loss of business during the peak hours and the misunderstanding the situation and. The issue that Sonoma County is facing as it relates to tourism and kind of all that. So we launched our product after 2 years of gung-ho, all full-time development. We're like, okay, we were all stealth mode for the whole time. And we go to launch this thing, and then a week and a half, 2 weeks later, the fire is there, right? And Ian and I live a mile and a half away from where it stopped. Ian even closer than I do. He was less than a mile away from where the end of the fire struck. So it was a really challenging time for everybody. One of our data guys lost part of his house, at least enough for him to move out because the electricity was out, the sewer was out, all the lines, the propane, everything was so messed up on his property that he couldn't go back. So it was pretty challenging for a small startup company, with funding and the rest of it. So one of the challenges that, or I guess not one of the challenges, but one of the things that we're really focused on up until that point was really like the business to business connections, right? We were pretty much B2B because we weren't like ready to go tell end consumers about our product because it still needed richer content. We need to get those wineries on board so that those menus are there, and it's just like super, like you go there and it's like, dude, this is really sweet. Like it's looking good, right? So we haven't done a big push to the end consumer yet. It's still even right now. We've been completely focused on the B2B side, and we've been doing quite well in that area. But the thing is that it's like we're a small team, and so getting the word out, and working with bloggers, working with this company that basically calls out of the blue and says, hey, I own this tour business. How can we work together? Like creatively thinking of ways that I could help you. That it's right. The cooperative nature and collaboration, I think, is what's going to drive things forward. That's it.
Yeah. And actually, she isn't here today, but one of our members, her name is Leslie, and her business is Vino 301, and she does Maryland tourism for wine. So all things Maryland wine. So you guys should definitely connect.
Yeah.
That would be great. Yeah, I mean,
she'll be linking up with you after.
Yeah,
just for sure.
So I think everyone's really optimistic out here to rebuild, and I think that this opportunity, as it relates to the fire, is actually a large opportunity if you look at the flip side of it, because now the wineries are going, well, what tools are available? We were looking for maybe perhaps new. Let's give this one a run. And so we're getting some pretty good traction as it relates to that, and we're excited about the opportunity that's moving into 2018 for sure. We just got to keep those partnerships strong and keep putting out a good quality product that people like.
That people like and people can use. And another good thing about it is how interactive it is, how you can talk with other consumers, how you can talk with the wineries, like how you can just connect with so many different people and in different ways. So yeah, I'm sitting here just
this is
there's
awesome.
Some things to come through. There's some things what's this it's not it's neural networks, basically, right? Neural networks that can kind of make suggestions based on who you follow and what they like, right? So let's say before about wine tasting, and there's propensity towards people drinking Pinot in your group, and you guys are already connected on the app, then through our advertising we can make recommendations that say, hey, I think you would also like this, right? Overlaying some of those things that'd be more fun as the application grows. Those are some of the things that we've mapped out that are obviously wish lists right now, but things.
That was my next question.
Things that we're definitely thinking about, right?
Yeah, that was my next question. What are some things that you're thinking about for this in the future, kind of like going forward? What are some things that you want to see? But yeah, you just answered that.
Yeah, so no, there's quite a bit. There's some of the initiatives that we're thinking of is like increasing the search speeds so that people can find information quicker. Having kind of like an elastic, it's called Elasticsearch, where like as you type in, like let's just say you want like like in Google does it, right? Like as you start to type, it makes the recommendation for you. Yeah, think of that. Improving winery management services, so that maybe that they could potentially manage their collateral on the account as well, like for trade.
Okay.
Wholesale and trade. Improve user dashboard features, so that they can get better wine-related content. We're looking to partner up with third-party media companies that are already in the space that are putting out good content. That's like some branded, sponsored content, that kind of stuff, and maybe being able to feed some of that information into a user's dashboard. Obviously, increasing social media engagement through our channels, like Wine Routes currently has, I think, somewhere on Instagram, somewhere around 14,000 followers. And so that was kind of just all natural, just taking photos out here in Sonoma County, posting them up. Integrating other services like Airbnb into the mapping services. Since we're in the map world, we can link with Airbnb, or we could link with Uber and Lyft for driving, for instance, right? So one of social responsibility here is like we don't want people out there drinking and driving going to 6-1.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So we limit the amount of stops that a user could put onto a route just to try to kind of, and we remind them to, drink responsibly, those kinds of things. So the other thing is like down the line, maybe add wine bars to wine routes, like places go and maybe it's not a winery, but it's a place where we can do those tastings and have those wines and, build a varietal database, provide a overlay on the map.
Yeah.
AVAs, right, of the American Viticulture.
Wow. Impressive. Yeah.
There's so much you can do with this.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, this is awesome.
We had all the AVAs mapped out by a cartographer, literally. Went and said, this is the longitude, latitude of every AVA in the U.S. There's 239 to be exact. We had all that information. So we have the longitude, latitude for every AVA that we could put little map marker, geo-bound, targeted bounds over the overlay. So when you go to your wine routes, you could say in the filters, you could say, I want to taste Zins in Dry Creek Valley. And it would only have wineries that are in that bounding box. I would really, if the funding was, no limit, we would have that feature going right now. Those things you have to slowly scale these things as they become available.
Yeah.
So that's what we're up to. Yeah, it's
okay.
a lot.
I'm kind of speechless. I'm like, I'm like, I want to ask a question, but then it's like, wow.
Oh,
it's a lot.
Wow.
That's just very impressive. So, do you have well, I'm assuming your favorite wine region is Sonoma County. But what's your second favorite? What's your second favorite wine region?
He's like, I don't have a second favorite. So no, I'm all the way.
So my wife and I like if we have two boys, 7 and 10. Actually 8 and 10 now. He's 8 in a couple days here. And we like to, if we don't have the kids with us, because it's a little bit more of a trek, but we like to get to Alexander Valley region, and I'm sorry, not Alexander Valley, Anderson Valley. This is up north a little bit, like on the border of say Mendocino area. So it's not like going into a completely different. We are going into a different region. We're not going to like a different country or anything. But we really like the Pinot Noirs up there. We think I think they're a bit more expressive, and they're more alive and full of flavor that I tend to really lean towards. So I would say Anderson Valley is a key place. I like Temecula and Lodi, unbelievably. Like, I think their Zins are just crazy good. I think like I'm always like a value seeker. I like to, like even personally, like I don't like to spend more than, $20, $25 a bottle. And so if I can find something in the value range between like, 11 and 17, and I find something that's just like I would share or recommend, then I'm like, I'm finding a lot of good wines from Temecula and Lodi that are in that category, and seem to always be like I find more wines from them that are good and that I like than in other regions. I think other ones are more expensive, and sometimes at that over $25 price point, I'm sometimes questioning my purchase.
Got it. Wow. I
don't try a lot of international wines, although I would really like to. I kind of had a like I would like to make a New Year's resolution to try things outside my area.
Yes.
It's like I just I always go back to what I know, because it's like I know what I don't like also, and so.
That's like half the battle, though.
Absolutely.
I tell people that all the time. I'm like, half the battle is knowing what you do not like, and then you can, stick with what you do. So, yeah.
So can I ask you guys some questions? Like, I'm curious.
Sure.
To know,
oh my God, please.
Please
like,
do.
You guys have asked all these great questions, and my mind's kind of like reeling right now.
I'm sorry.
No, that's how we felt after hearing about the app. I'm like, dang, I'm trying to punch in some stuff like, ooh, Virginia, Maryland. It's so much.
So like, yeah, like for your guys' thing, do you guys do this full time, or do you guys do? I mean, I guess I'm asking two different questions to different
Hmm.
people, but is this how can you guys monetize what it is that you guys do, and what's your target audience, and how can this application potentially help you guys? Like, what's the tell me more about specifically what you guys do and what your guys' end goals are with your businesses.
Sarita, I'll let you go first.
Well, I kind of dip into two different worlds. Um, I am a wine blogger, and I do small wine events in DC, in and around DC. And the thing, how I got started is going to tastings at wine shops and
Okay.
like wine bars in the area. That's kind of how I got started. So my focus is more like inner city focus, as far as like urban
Sure.
winery kind of thing. So if you expanded to the wine bars and restaurants, I guess that's how I could see how I fit in there.
Sure. Sure.
But also,
Restaurants are restaurants are a big jump because
sure,
that's
Restaurants are harder,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
that,
yeah.
that's like going into another
Because
realm.
the question that I get is where to eat and where to drink in major cities. So those are the questions, the kind of questions that I get. But also I don't know how podcasting would fit in there, but I produce this podcast and another one. But so yeah, and no, I do not do this full time.
Sure.
I
Sure. So
have a
this is
full time job. Yeah. Oh.
putting people together and kind of similar, I think, to my experience. I think
Hmm.
people over wine, just like the social nature. I think it's
Yeah.
it's just it's who you're with and what you're drinking, and that creates the experience. Like people will say, "What's the best bottle of wine you ever had?"
Oh yeah.
Like the best bottle of wine, it wasn't just the standalone bottle. It was who I was with. It was where I was at and what I did leading up to it and what I did afterwards. Right? It was like
Sure. Yeah.
a whole mix of the whole bit. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
um,
Yep.
and
Whenever somebody's like, what's your, favorite bottle, the best bottle, I'm like, today?
yeah,
Well, we get
This
what's your
week?
favorite wine like overall? I'm
Right.
like,
Right.
I
There is
can't
no
really answer
overall.
that.
Overall
Yeah.
today. Like I
Mm.
can give
what's your
you
favorite
today
song?
or this week. Yeah.
Right.
That's
Right.
like I can't tell you. No,
So
it changes.
Tanisha, your turn.
Okay, so me, as far as what I do, I'm more full-time-ish in the industry because I just, gave it all up, a nice cushy life in America, and I actually currently live in France.
Oh, okay.
And so I teach wine classes here. I host wine tours in the city to different wine bars. I do day trips to Champagne. I also do whiskey tastings. I am super into cognac, so I am starting to talk more, write more, and learn more, drink more cognac. And also, I do this podcast. I have a YouTube channel where I do videos about various places I go and various things that I drink. So,
That's excellent. Oh, that's really neat. So, okay, so you're over in what time is it in Paris right now?
it is currently 3:06 a.m.
Oh my goodness, and you're awake.
Yeah, she wakes up for a show. She is a trooper.
I wake up for the show. Yes,
Oh my
I
goodness.
am a trooper. But that's also why I am 98% of the time I'm not drinking. People are like, oh, what are you drinking on the show? Nothing, because
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, so after you go back to bed and then you wake up and you take someone on a tour to Champagne, or that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very neat.
Yeah.
Okay,
That
gotcha,
is
gotcha.
it. So yeah,
Well,
when you're ready to start drinking outside of your
Mm.
California zone, I can
Yeah.
definitely hip you to the French wines that you need to be drinking.
well, I went to the Tour de France 2 years ago, or maybe it
Okay.
was 3 years, and I went and followed the Tour de France around for 10 days. I'm a cyclist, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I got into the wine thing. I just went by these wineries on these back roads, and I
Hmm.
said, "Oh my God, there's so many of these. Like, if I don't know these places and I've seen them on the bike, no one else can know about these places either." So,
Hmm.
anyways, I went over to to France and did the 10. I did 10 of the 21 day stages. rode partly on some of them, and what a great experience over there. But we didn't have much time to drink any wine. We were mostly drinking beer and then jumping from place to place to place because the Tour de France moves very quickly.
Oh yeah, it moves quick.
Yeah, they just move all over the place every day. So,
well, when you're ready to try some French wine, let me know.
Yes,
I will definitely help you with that.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, cool. So, what happens to this podcast afterwards? You guys put this out on YouTube, or where does it go to?
This goes in several places. So the video will go on YouTube, and the audio will go to 4 different channels. So it'll go to SoundCloud, it'll go to iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. So
Very good.
It'll go several different places.
Yes, and then we all tweet it, we
we'll
Instagram it, we Facebook,
Cool.
So promote.
Yeah.
I'll push that as well for sure. So
yeah,
we can spread the word with this. This would be great. I would really appreciate it, and it's so great to talk with you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
It's great talking to you too. Thank you so much, and going really in depth into not just how it works, but also like some of the back end, also some of your thinking. Where you want to take it. Like, you were very open with
whatever, if you have any other ideas about how wine bloggers can be a part or help you out, or use your app for something, just shoot us something. Just let us know.
Perfect. Create a route. Put it on your blog, and then put just that simple little step, or if you're gonna go to a winery, say, hey, you guys know about wine routes. It's simple. It's a free thing to sign up. It's just they go there, they set up a user account, and then they send them an email. That's it. And then they confirm their email address, and then they go and they search for their winery and they claim it. That's it. They're in. They can go take the account over.
Got it.
All this.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, because I'm like, I set it up while I was, waiting for you to get on the call, waiting for that part. So So that is how we will pledge our support.
Yeah,
we will upload some wine routes.
Well,
and then next time I'm in the States, I'll take one.
Yeah.
That's it. This up for sure. Make sure you're
well,
all right, guys.
Yeah, have a good night. Thank you so much for joining the Swirl Suite.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Adrian, have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, alrighty, folks. There you have it.
There
Adrian
is.
from Wine Routes. What a dope app. And then I also like the logo he has. But yeah, I actually was looking through it because some of the more popular routes that came up were New Mexico.
Really?
But then, as the popular regions, New Mexico came up at the top. The features are New Mexico. Then popular region, Washington State, of course, Sonoma, because that's where he is, Oregon, and Long Island. So yeah, this is definitely something. And that'll be how we could do it to when we put this out on Instagram, upload a wine route and then screenshot it. That is our Instagram post and that. And was thinking of for Friday 5, since that's coming up, my Friday 5 might be top 5 wine apps. And so
there it is. You are so smart.
There's my Friday 5.
You are smart.
Shout out to Adrian for coming up with that one for me. Thank you. And so I'll make sure I tag him in that. So yeah, top 5 wine app. Let me write that down because I'm gonna forget this in 20 minutes.
I feel like his whole team are like geniuses.
Girl, listen, people in computer science, I'm like, I wish I was better at it since that was my major. Like I should have, been killing the game. But girl, I can't be sitting down behind no desk all day long. Like that's just not even my story. I tried it for a little while. I was like, oh, not for me.
I'm like rethinking my life.
Girl, whatever. You are a top wine producer, a top wine blogger and podcaster. You good?
Well,
top 5 wine apps Friday 5.
Some
Boom.
days I feel like that. Some days.
Girl, some days you be on top of the world. Some days the world be on top of you. I mean that is legit. Yeah.
That's a word.
How it go?
There. That's it.
That sermon preaches. That's how the open say. That they can preach. Like, wait, what? What are you talking about? But,
so I have several things to add to my to-do list. I need to download. Well, I can't download the app. I can play with it online. And it seems very user friendly on the computer
It
as
is.
well.
It is.
And if
It is.
there is a way I can share it, or text it to myself, then I'll do that. But yeah, this is pretty cool. And I also will download Drizzly so I can just have wine delivered just because.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just gotta do it. Just
I'm just
like
saying, I can write
come
about
to
it.
me. Come to me.
I can write about it. That's it.
Yeah, come to
Speaking
me.
of, I had this whole plan. Can I tell you about this whole plan I had? I
Share.
ordered Blue Apron, right?
Okay, yes.
And I did the free trial. I only did it because I found out that they had wine. So
Okay.
I thought it was gonna be a whole setup. Like, yeah, I'm gonna order my meals, and then I'm gonna pick one of their wines to pair with the meals they have on the site. And I was gonna write about it. I had this whole plan. So their wine club is separate from the food. So their wine club is a totally different membership than the food. You can't get it
Okay.
together. They will suggest what they think you should drink with it, and of course they sort of connect you to their wines, but they want you to buy a different membership for their wine club.
Okay.
So I just got the food, and then that was it. And then they forgot one of my items that was supposed to be in the meal. So it wasn't a total fail. The food was good. Um, but nah, I'm good. But Blue Apron has wine, y'all. They have a wine club.
Well, there you go. Blue Apron
Yeah,
Wine Club. Boom.
there it is.
All right.
That's it. So,
Because I think, did you do an Insta story once if you making one of their recipes?
yes, I did both. I did Insta stories on both meals.
Okay.
They were good. They were very tasty. They don't lack flavor at all. But yeah, y'all know I cook anyway. I was just experimenting with, a service. So that was about it. It was good though. Tanisha, what you got going on? You need to tell the people about anything you doing this week or this weekend in Paris.
Um, the only thing exciting that's going on, is coming up. Paris Cocktail Week starts this weekend, so excited about that. That is just different bars and lounges around Paris. We'll have like a special cocktail. We'll have a cocktail on special. You have this pass. And then they have this map of the different places and what the cocktail is. And with the pass, you can get like happy hour pricing, or discounted pricing on this particular cocktail. So it's a chance to go to some bars to try a cocktail, bars that I've always wanted to go to, slide into there.
That sounds
They'll also
really
have
fun.
like some classes and some ateliers and different things like that. So I may go to a couple of those, a couple of tastings, try out my French and see how that goes. So yeah, that starts this Saturday. There's also an Armagnac tasting Saturday, so I'm like super excited about that because I love Armagnac.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
So yeah, I'm hype about that. And and there's this girl. She's from the South. But she actually now lives in Strasbourg, so in East France. Doesn't live in Paris anymore, but she's going to be here this weekend doing a takeover at a kitchen of this restaurant. So she's going to do a Texas brunch. So
In Paris. Okay.
yes, so I'm going to that on Saturday. On her Insta story, she was testing out cornbread recipes. So I'm like, oh.
There it is.
And I responded to her. I was like, well, clearly now I'm coming for sure. Like I was on the fence, but now I'm there. So yeah, I'll be doing that. And I think that's it with the exciting things. My whiskey tasting is next week. My monthly whiskey tasting on the 25th. And yeah, that is what I'm doing. See, I'm trying to do better about you say I don't talk about me and promote.
Yes.
That.
Very good.
This is me doing better. 2018, new year, new promotions.
For me, so on Friday, well, tomorrow I'm going to a happy hour, and it is a Ward 7. If you're not from DC, DC is broken up in wards. We have 8 wards, and I live in Ward 7. I live in Ward 7, so there is a Ward 7 and Ward 8 happy hour in Anacostia. So we are heading to Anacostia tomorrow night.
Hey.
So it's a little happy hour.
Say.
Just hoping to meet some, some neighborhood folk. And yeah, I will, of course, I'm going to snap and Insta story what they have, because I'm super curious. I'm very curious. Oh, and you and I are doing a challenge this week called.
We are.
We're doing an Instagram. Fix your feed on Instagram. So if you see that hashtag, that's what that's about. And we met a lot of cool people through this this challenge. And it's just teaching us discipline and consistency, and it's working.
Which I need.
Yeah, we both need.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
So. And it's also really like this year when I do my social media, like some of it will still be instant, but like Instagram, when I plan that out at the beginning of the week, like take that time on Sunday and just sit down and plan it out, or like a Monday morning, man, it makes such a difference. And with tools like Canva to create graphics, and then you have apps like Later and Planoly where you can see how your feed will look and you can plan posts that way. Like you have no excuse. You can make stuff look amazing.
All the tools are there. Everything is there. Yeah, you just gotta do it.
Only thing I still kind of play with is the time, but for me it's actually just easiest to post it in the evening for me, so like 8 p.m. for me, and then like noon, 1 o'clock, like lunchtime for you all. That's what I post. And then
I actually have an app that it shows me where my peaks are, and
what app is that?
I will send it to you, but so my peak is like 5-6 a.m. So when people get up, grab their phone, before they get their day started, like I guess laying in the bed or whatever, that's where my peaks are. That's where people. Where is it? What is it called? Hold on 1 second. Let me find it. Where is it at? Oh gosh. When you get a new phone and can't find any of the apps that you're looking for. How about that? Okay, when I find it, I will tell you.
Yeah, you can send me up later and let me know.
Yeah. But also Friday is Club Bar at Bikram Yoga in Ivy City. So come out and see me for mocktails and wine and bar. So the ballet teacher teaches bar for an hour. I will be in the class as well, dying with the rest of you. And then I set up a healthy happy hour after. And I usually make a lot of mocktails because a lot of yogis don't drink. I have a juicer, so it's usually like fresh, and I'll add some herbs. It's really cool. I have light, healthy snacks.
Sarita goes. Yeah, you go all in. Like you really be doing it for them. For the people.
Check my Instagram. But yes, I will be there. Classes at 8, happy hours at 9. That's how I spend my Friday night. Check me out. And one of my homegirls is having a vision board party. So that should give me further inspiration for 2018. But
nice. I did my I had a friend who had a vision board party last weekend, so Saturday, and so I did that, and I'm actually can see my vision board right now. So
nice.
Yeah. Nice. So I'll talk about what's on it, off camera.
Okay.
Yeah. Off camera.
And lastly, I think not that I want to go into broadcasting at all, but I think I can do better on camera and talking in front of people. So I'm probably going to buy your brother's book.
Okay. Yeah, he does have pointers and stuff in there about that. So for sure. Yeah. Oh, that'll be nice.
Because have you ever watched some of your videos and like, oh my God, do you do that with your face? What's wrong with you? It's
I did a video once. I was like, did you just have a stroke in the middle of the thing? I'm like, why is your face do that? Or what is that with your eye? Or is there something on your... Yeah. But also a lot of it, and again, this is something that he talks about because I've had him, of course, look at my videos and things that I've done, and we go back and forth. And a lot of it comes with just doing it over and over again, like practicing it. Yeah. Like you know, how we say when we look back at our old videos, we're like, oh my God, this is what? You sound crazy. But yeah, a lot of it is just doing it over and over to the point like you can get up there and just do it quick. Like now when I need to record my quick Wine on Wednesday video, I don't have to do a bunch of takes. I can do one and done. Hey, what's up? This is Tanisha, Girl Meets Glass.
Well,
I'm
first of all,
here.
you are good at that anyway. So, yeah. Folks
maybe it's
like
in the family. Maybe it's in the genes. Maybe
How
it's
about it? There it is. But folks like me, I have to practice a lot. So, yeah.
No, girl. You know, I just want to get up and talk. You know, practice. Wait, what? Write something down. I don't have no notes. Let's go. Yeah.
Exactly.
There's that.
Anyway. Oh.
You gonna tell us what you're drinking tonight?
Oh, sure. Well, I told you. Gewürztraminer.
Oh, that's right.
Trader
you did.
Joe's. From Trader Joe's.
I just kept seeing that glass tip up, and I'm like, wait, what is she?
Yeah. So check my wine blog tomorrow. I'll do a little write up and check our Instagram. And I guess I can conclude with be sure to rate us on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play.
Ready, please.
Comment, ask questions, send us emails at swirlsuite@gmail.com. Follow
anything you want to know about.
Yes. Follow Girl Meets Glass on all social media.
You should definitely do that.
Follow myself, Buy Me Up on all social media. And you can follow the Swirl Suite on all social media. Also, follow our other two members who aren't here today, Vino 301 and Vino Noir. I think that's
do all those things. We gave you some homework. Please. Hop to it.
Yes, and if you have an iPhone, download Wine Routes because the app is awesome. Use it and tag us. Cheers.
Yes. Good night.
What's up? My name is Keith Beavers, and I'm a wine lover for the everyday wine lover, and I'm chilling with Swirl Suite.